Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording Wednesday, May 21st. It's draft season. We got Tyler Rucker on from No Ceilings to do our draft preview of the year. We always have him on every year before the draft. A little earlier this season, we started it, but we're here. How you doing, Sam?
Doing great. Just finished learning the best Monopoly strategy today. We don't have to get into that, but today's show going to be a fun one. We have Tyler Rucker on. Go through all the prospects. We'll talk about the conference finals. Both game ones have been played by the release of this, so we'll do the rallies and get up out of here. Stick around through all of it. A lot of fun stuff on the channel coming out. New stuff every single day. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps up the one after each game. Other videos up here in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. Won't hold you up any further. Great draft coverage ahead. Hour-plus conversation with Tyler Rucker, who had great insight on all sorts of prospects that the Celtics could be looking at, especially with all the change coming. I've talked about it. Jack's talked about it. Draft is super important this year. You have to nail the draft picks.
Indeed. We talked about Tyler, about the Celtics for a little bit. We get to the draft conversation about 10 minutes, 11 minutes-ish into our conversation. So if you really don't want to hear about the Celtics, you can skip to there. But I mean, it's a Celtics podcast, so I assume you guys want to hear about it too. But thanks again to Tyler. We'll throw it over to our chat right now. All right, it's our pleasure to welcome our good friend Tyler Rucker from No Ceilings. It's that time of year. The Celtics are out of the playoffs a little earlier than I think we all anticipated, but that means we have plenty more time to go over the draft. So hello, Tyler. Thank you for joining us. How you doing?
It's good to see you guys. Yeah, like you said, I didn't want to be talking to you this early, but hey, it's okay. We're still on that championship hangover, so it's all right. I'm feeling okay. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing okay, yeah. Like we said, it's as good as you can be doing considering the circumstances, but we are leaning into the change that is inevitably coming down the line here.
Yeah,
indeed. But Tyler, you're a Celtics guy, so before we get into any draft stuff, we can do a little debrief there, because I don't know how much you get to talk about the Celtics over at No Ceilings because it's a lot of draft. So I guess your thoughts on the way the Celtics season ended, if you'd like to share the misery a little bit.
Yeah, thank you. This is like always my therapy I need every time before the draft, because I'm like, can I get some guys on the team to talk about the Celtics? And no, I was like, no, be quiet. You guys just won a title. I don't know. It was tough because the whole year I felt like I was like, okay, yeah, they still look like the team that just won the title. But I was like, I clearly see like the signs of still having like the USA hangover and how exhausted they were getting. I thought Joe did a good job of balancing all that. And then it just feels like, the injuries were piling up. And I was like, the only shot they have to get the finals again is if they're healthy. And then the Porzingis curveball, I was like, this is not good. This is getting ugly in a hurry. So I feel fine. It was kind of like when they blew those first two Knicks games, I was like, oh man, I still feel like they could do this, and then the Tatum injury was just like the worst. Like the moment it happened, I was like, this is really how it's going to end, isn't it? Like we're going to have this now. So like it's just numb now because I'm like, I have no idea what they're going to do this offseason. I think I've, like every Celtics fan, pulled up Trade Machine and looked at every team I possibly can. And you're trying to be like, can you run it back? And I don't know. All options are available right now, I think.
Yeah, it's a mess.
It would have been great if you asked him for his thoughts. He was like, I loved the way the season ended.
I loved the season. I thought they kind of shocked me and looked better than I thought. Because when they had so many guys on Team USA, I was like, this is so hard to do. Like, especially if you're going to now try to run it back to defend your crown. And then I was like, man, they kind of overachieved from what I was expecting, just balancing all of that. And guys, in and out of the lineup, guys struggling a little bit. So I don't know. It's just now I'm like, I wasn't expecting this coming to the playoffs. That like, I thought they might not get there, but I was like, I didn't think we might be like, the team's going to look completely different potentially next year.
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be a level of like, oh, second apron. Do you have to move one of the big contracts? But now it's like, you're definitely going to move at least one. You probably move two. And then what happens after that is the question. So I think that's where the mess comes in because, I mean, after the way Kristaps played, you feel bad for him because he was sick, but he's probably gone just because of the money he makes. He's on an expiring, so it'll be relatively easy to shed the salary. Then it becomes the Drew question of do you get rid of him too so you can shed even more and get under the second apron comfortably heading into the year after that? And that's where it's like, what is the team going to look like in terms of depth? How important does the draft become? Like everything past that, it's really impossible to know what direction they go in. So we're just left to speculate, which is good content at the very least. But
plus, they've already been in the second apron for 2 years, like the last 2 years, so they can't do it again for the next 3, or they have their draft pick go to the end of the first round, which is obviously not good, unless like you're anticipating being at the end of the first round anyways. But I don't really know. Definitely not next season. Next season, you cannot risk that.
It's hilarious, the new like CBA and second apron. I feel like you keep finding out all these new like curveballs, even if you're like studying it. Because like I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot. Like you actually get penalized with your draft pick spots. Like you could be a terrible team, but it's like you broke the rules and now you're still picking really late. So I'm with you guys. I thought Porzingis was. I thought that was the right trade when they traded for him, traded Smart, because I thought Smart's like value was probably at its peak. And I thought he brought a really interesting wrinkle. Now it's just kind of after you won the title, I was like, you're playing with house money now, but you got to be careful. And then this illness, man, it's unlike anything I've seen. It's just like we don't have an answer. I'm convinced he's going to play for his home country this summer and look fantastic. And I'm going to be like, you got to be kidding me. But I don't know. It's just, I think you got to try to find a way to get off of that. And then, like Jack said, I think then the Drew conversation starts. And I love him as a player, but you also got to look at this as like a business. And okay, did we get what we want from out of him? And can we still move that to try to kind of create a better future for the team?
yeah, it's a tough spot, because on top of that, like you see reports of teams are really interested in Drew, and then you see reports of teams don't really love the contract, and then
Right.
it's just like a balance of what can you do, I guess, which I guess circles all the way back to replacements, drafts, cheap contracts. Can you find guys in the first and second round? Celtics have 28 and 32 here in the 2025 NBA draft after having a couple picks last year. I think they had 30 and 54 last year, and they got Shireman and Watson, one of which they ended up trading. So I guess if we want to go to the draft, my first question to you is more broad. Like, how deep is the talent pool at the space that the Celtics are currently drafting in?
I mean, they're in a good spot. I think this is a deep draft. It was really, really deep. And then we had kind of, I think was one of the like lowest numbers of early entry guys from college hoops, because it's just with the NIL, guys are wanting to stay now and get paid and makes for a better product at the NBA level. But it's just a little tough now with the class. But so like overall, it used to be really deep for both rounds. Now it's like getting a little thinned out, but like where the Celtics could be picking, I think they're in a good spot, especially in the first round. And then having now with the new format with 2 days, like having one of the first picks in the second round is a really big luxury, because you get the night to kind of review your board. And last year I had some teams I talked to after the first night. They were like, how is this guy still on the board? So everyone's going to be freaking out, calling around. So maybe they have a name that they're surprised is still there. Maybe they get a juicy offer. They can move back and get a couple swings or a future pick. So I think there's some really good draft value for that first round pick, because we're also going to see kind of a run of teams in that first round that don't need guards. And this is a very deep guard draft. So with that being, like, there could be value falling down. There's some international guys that I had some teams tell me that they thought they were lottery guys at one point of the year that haven't really played much overseas because they're on stacked teams. So kind of one of those things where also you ask around the league and everyone has a complete different range on a bunch of names. So I think things could be really intriguing for the Celtics. I know they want to probably trade out of that pick like always, but eventually you got to take some swings. You got to start building for the future. So I think they could do that this year.
You mentioned having to take swings. Have you heard from any of the teams you've talked to, just in general, about the value of draft picks going up with the CBA? Because we kind of touched on like how difficult it is to keep an expensive team together, and there's no better way to add valuable contracts and good talent through the draft than through the draft.
Yeah, I think there's definitely an importance with it now. It's interesting because we kind of heard recently that some teams think we're going to kind of go back because, each year you see a shift of like teams, okay, want to try to find the early contributors. So they might draft them a little earlier than history showed. And then other drafts, it was like they're swinging for upside. I think we're going to see a little bit of the upside shift. And, I kind of wonder if that's going to be because teams are thinking long-term of like, let's get someone in here that has high upside that we can develop for a couple of years with this new CBA stuff. So I think you're going to start to see a couple of names that were high recruits coming out of high school that didn't have the best freshman year that might start climbing up boards to, maybe be in that Celtics range where it's like, okay, long-term, we're seeing it with this kid, but we just might need to be a little patient. You never know, but I do think there's a definite importance now with those, draft picks.
Okay. Interesting. So I think then the question goes to like positions, right? Because as much as the Celtics might want to just take best player available, there is a certain pressure on them now to replace positions, especially center, right? Because you look at the state of their center position. I mean, we've spent the whole first 10 minutes of the show like, oh yeah, Kristaps probably gone, right? So that's one guy out. You probably hope Al comes back for another season, but even that might be in question with the Tatum injury, whether or not he retires. And then they might get priced out of Luke Cornett. And I still hold out a little hope that Brad Stevens is going to find a way to bring him back just by finagling, okay, we're going to try to dump Kristaps. We're going to try to, figure out a way to shed Drew's salary. And then we're going to leave ourselves enough wiggle room to still sign Luke Cornett under that second apron. Because I think he was good enough to where they might prioritize that. But still, even if you do that, like, if you lose Al and Kristaps, you're still left with a very wide open backup big man spot because, with all due respect, Mish Keita wasn't very good and Xavier Tillman can't play anymore. Like you're kind of left with a spot there. And so I guess looking at the big, so this morning I did like a little bit of, I'm going to watch a little bit of random film. I'm going to, look at mock drafts and look around and find stuff. So
this is my favorite thing you do. I love this when you guys do this because I'm like, yes, I get to hear the other side of the pitch. So yeah, hit me with it.
So I woke up at like 10:30 today. And since then I wrote one thing.
Early day.
Like take it up on the site. Early day for me. Yes, that's important to know.
It's like 10:30. I'm jealous.
But I like watched a bunch of film. I watched a lot of No Ceilings videos actually, and I looked at a bunch of different scouting reports. And the first name I have, number one, and I've texted you about him, I think 1 million times since like October. And I need you to talk me off the ledge if it's crazy. I really like Danny Wolf. Like, I just think he's really good. I think it'd be a great fit. Obviously, you need, is the defense there? Is he athletic enough? Whatever. But watching him handle the ball, he looks like Rondo at 7'1". Like,
he's awesome.
It's crazy.
He would be oh my gosh, how did he fall here? And now with Danny, it's one of those things where, so he played at Yale for a couple of years, transferred to Michigan. Michigan just like let him be their point guard, and he's awesome. Like he had a high usage, turnovers got a little high, but it was basically because they just let him do everything. But he's so unique. I hate using unicorn, but like he is a unicorn prospect. I joke that he's the Joker in the deck of this year. Like you don't know where he's going to go. Sure. He could go late lottery. He could go at the end of the first round. And every team you talk to has like, they're either in love or like, I don't see it. So it's one of the names that you just continue to ask around, and the range is so wide. So it wouldn't shock me too much if like, oh my gosh, Danny Wolf's on the board for the Celtics pick, and it wouldn't shock me if like he goes 12th. It's just one of those eye of the beholder kind of prospects. Like we keep joking, like if he's on the board for the Thunder, is that just like the scariest thing for adding that type of player to him? But I mean, he's 7 foot with great size, and then just fluidity. Like he takes guys off the bounce and hits a step back three, and it's like that looked like a shooting guard doing that at that size. So incredibly skilled. It would be such a good get for the Celtics. Like even if they were getting crazy and they're like, let's just go get him. You never know with the team. Like the Celtics might be like, we just got to go get a guy that could potentially come in early and mature, smart player. Like it makes some sense to me. I would love that. That would be a guy I'd try to go up to get if I was the Celtics.
Okay.
Stevens at the Monday presser, he didn't explicitly say either way, but he essentially left the door open that maybe they will move in the draft, whether it's forward or backwards is yet to be seen. So we'll keep that in mind. He did say they're not going to go get Cooper Flagg, which, Cooper Flagg, the 28th best prospect in this draft, probably will be there anyway.
It's amazing when the report came out about them meeting with Flag and everyone was freaking out. And I was like,
I was in it.
Pick the teams.
I took the bait. I was on the end of the fish hook, just like, whoa, is Jalen getting traded? You know, like all the dumb thoughts came right through my head, and I was like, Cooper Flag, he's coming to town.
But he's a free agent. He's going to deny his rookie contract and just sign with the Celtics.
Now that would be smart.
I can't do it, man.
I would be so pumped.
I was like watching I had a stopwatch going. I didn't actually, but I should have until Sam made the 28th best prospect joke. I can't hear it anymore. I can't wait for him to be drafted so I don't hear the joke.
Sam's tagged me like 4 times in it, and it made my day every time. I laughed the whole year. I was like, yep.
It's like, please confirm like he's falling down draft boards. I heard he showed up to the combine with a bag of McDonald's, Nico.
Exactly. You just gotta throw everything out there. It's funny. I had a buddy of mine who's a diehard hoop fan, and he's a Warriors fan. And he's like, "Would you trade Jalen for the first pick?" I said, "Yes." I love Jalen Brown, but yes, I would. Right now, I would trade it straight up.
So that's how good Cooper Flag is.
But it's just you're getting him at 18 with all he just completely is gonna change a franchise. So and it's nothing against Jalen, but it's also just like, can I get a 12-year or younger player that's gonna be with the Celtics for his whole career? Like, yeah, I would make that investment, but I still love Jalen. So
I'm a sucker for the storyline too.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm like New England. I mean, yesterday on the recording with Jack, I was like, what if they traded for Tyler Kolek? Like, just go get him. He's from Rhode Island. Like, Nemi. Who says no?
You got to do weird stuff like that this offseason, I think. Brad, I think you got to try to make some little like, hey, did he overpay for this guy? This guy's unproven, but you also might just be like, hey, new situation. He's shown in the history, even when he was a coach, like he can find guys and get the best basketball of them. So
it's true.
I like it. That's a little wild one, but I like it.
Sam, 2 days ago, we were talking about like, oh, is there a chance the Celtics tank this year? And I was like, no way. He goes, put AJ in a box. He's like talking about all the masks.
I was like, they gotta go get AJ's from Brockton. And Jack was like, yeah, and the Boozer kid. I was like, no, just the kid from Mass. Like, I don't want them to tank for anybody else.
Before we continue, I do need to tell you guys about PrizePicks. It's the best place to get real money sports action this basketball season, this baseball season, throughout the rest of the playoffs. And through whatever sports season is still going on at the time you're listening to this. PrizePicks has plenty of features. Just pick more or less on any given number or stat they give you, so you can check it out there. We do the PrizePicks on the pregame shows during the season. We would pick the more or the less on plenty of different things like points, rebounds, assists. You can also combine props if you're, into baseball and you want to also do basketball playoffs. You can pick RBIs more and then assists more and combine them into the same lineup. So make sure to check it out. It's the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Also, on top of that, every Tuesday, PrizePicks will discount several projections on the board, usually by 15 to 25%. It's Taco Tuesday, so make sure to check out all the cool promotions they've got over there on PrizePicks. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game.
Oh, man, it's going to be a really good year next year. So that's why anytime the Celtics fans are like, hey, should we tank a little bit? I'm like, I'm not going to say anything, but, maybe we just see how it plays out.
Be here for it. Okay. Sam, did you have a prospect you want to throw out? I have a list of like my rankings, but I do. I don't want to dominate, so run it.
I do think somebody emailed us about him too. So if it's there, like, and we talked about your email already, this is it. Ryan Kalkbrenner, I wrote the article for Houdini yesterday. He has been a name that has been in that range in a lot of mock drafts. Tankathon put him in their mock draft to the Celtics at 32. And in the small amount of research I was able to do on him, he seems like a 23-year-old skinnier Luke Cornett at this point, and that would be okay with me in this draft.
I think he should be like at the top of the wish list for them, because I think he's got a real shot to be there, and he's. So you look at Kalkbrenner on paper and you'll be like, okay, he's this lumbering giant. What is he going to not be able to move well? And it's like, no, but Kalkbrenner can play. He's been, I think, Defensive Player of the Year in the Big East. I think going back like every year 4 times. Also was in high school Defensive Player of the Year. So smart, shocks you with how fluid. Like he could get the ball in the perimeter, put it on the ground, and have a finger roll like at the basket. Like he's got some stuff to him. Defensively, he's gonna have to play drop. But he's just a smart, tough player. Like the Cornet thing is a great one. I think he's like probably a juiced up Cornet, and not perimeter wise, but around the basket, he just really causes problems because I think he measured around 7'2", 260 with a 7'6" wingspan, but he's just smart. Like he knows his, weaknesses, I guess, if you want to put it that way. He doesn't chase everything. He just contests stuff. So I would love him as like a backup big. Like I'm with you guys going into this. I've been asking for them to draft a big for years. I'm like, you got to get a big. Al's going to retire. We can't play him until he's 50. And if Al comes back, I'm like, hey, that's a luxury just to have Al Horford on the team. Like basically, if I was Brad Stevens, I'd be like, you make the call. If you want to come back, you're back. If not, thank you for everything. But I would just try to get someone like that can be a backup, give you some upside and like good minutes. And then defensively, he can just kind of cause some problems with his presence in there. So it wouldn't be the sexiest pick. One of my guys at No Ceilings made a great reference. He said it'd be like an NFL taking a guard in the first round. I was like, that's a good point. Like it is just be like, it's not sexy, but you need them. You need those guys to really help you out. And especially if they end up moving Porzingis, you try to kind of, reinvent that length and size you had, but obviously he's not going to be that floor spacer.
Yeah, and you mentioned Jack, like listen, we don't know if Kristaps, Cornet, or Al will be back next year. We just literally do not know that on May 21st. The other 2 big guys on the roster are the most expendable roster spots, it feels like. You don't really need to bring Nemi back. You don't need to bring Tillman back. I mean, I think they're both under contract, but like if you want to move away from them or just Tillman's have somebody eclipse them.
Tillman's guaranteed, Kate is not, I think.
Okay. So, but like if you want somebody to come in and like be the next guy up in the understudy, like that makes a lot of sense to me personally.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Especially if you somehow, let's say they lose 2 of them and you get Al back, I would 100% be drafting an understudy just to be like, let's just give him Al Horford for a year. Like, let's just see what can happen. And maybe there's a handshake with Al of like, we know this is probably your last year if you're coming back, and can you take this guy under your wing? You don't know. And Al would probably do that without even having that conversation. But I just think with this draft, it's definitely time to at least get one. You don't have to be in love with him, but you need to build some depth because you're going to probably have to make some really tough decisions this offseason.
Okay. I like Kalkbrenner. That eased some of my. So when I was watching, I was like, he's a little slow, but that eased some of the eye tester, the
you know what it is Jack, he's a little slow, and then you're like, oh yeah, he's 7'2", 260. So yeah, I do the same thing. I'm like, gosh, he's a little slow, and I'm like, oh, he's humongously slow. Like he's
monster.
Just a monster. That's like Porzingis I watch, and I'm like, gosh, he's slow. And then sometimes I'm like, well, he just looks slow right now. But
he's 7'3".
Yeah.
Okay. I got you. All right. We don't have to spend too much time on this if it is just that he's not going to be there. Is there any chance Thomas Sorber falls in this draft?
Yes. The combine didn't help that idea. He's one of my favorite guys in the class. I love him. I'm probably higher on him than a lot of people. I thought he measured like around 6'10". I had people tell me they thought he was too small to be a big. And I was like, when is 6'10" too small to be a big? But he's also 260 pounds and knows to use that weight. Like he steals people. He's tough. He throws people around. I wrote an article about him at No Ceilings, and I was like, he's a bully in the paint. But he had a 7'6" wingspan, and people were like, whoa, where did this come from? So Sorber had a foot injury, cut his season short. So there's always a chance, Celtics fans know this. There's always a chance, like Jared Sullinger fell down the board, Robert Williams. You never know with medicals and stuff. So there's a chance. But I also think like this is going to come. He probably isn't going to do pre-draft work. So it's going to be interviews. It's going to be like stuff like that. I think he'll probably will go before then, but you never know. Like this is a year too where things could get a little crazy. Like how are these guys still on the board? But small chance, a guy I'd go up for if I was, Brad, I probably would go up because I think he could be a heck of a get.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, no, I was watching him and I saw a bunch of drafts. Like, I think your guys' latest mock had him like 12 or something. And so I was like, I don't know how deep he can get, but he's a freak, man. His wingspan, his finishing around the rim, his defense, I was like, interesting.
We had a mock of him going 12th, and then I think the one before he went 29th.
Okay.
So it was just like, that's how quick
Sure.
it get. And I mean, some of those we do war room style, so we vote around the room, and
Yep.
Sometimes we start yelling at people like, how is this guy still on the board? But it just also shows you like one domino falls, and then all of a sudden everyone's just like, oh gosh, like how's this guy here? How's this guy here? So maybe I'm going to say probably not, but maybe. I'm never ruling it out.
Okay. I like that. Sam, you got one, or do you want me to fire another?
I do. I will say Yahoo's mock draft currently has Sorber to the Celtics.
I'd freak out in a positive way. I'd be like, we're back. We've never been more back. Like
comps are Jonas Valanciunas and Nurkic.
He's a lot tougher than those guys. Like, no, Valanciunas is a good one because Sorber like will run in transition and see a smaller guy and literally just throws his butt into someone, and it's just like game over.
Hell yeah.
He just gets it and throws. But he plays with fire. Like I like him a lot. Some teams like him too. Like I think that would be a fantastic get for them. And he's a little nasty defensively. Like he's got those KG blocks where he spikes it and talks some stuff right after it goes out of bounds. Like he's got some nastiness to him.
Okay. We like that. We like the sound of that for sure.
Hell yeah.
My next interesting prospect is currently mocked by no ceilings to the Celtics. It is Walter Clayton. Walter Clayton was the star of the tournament this year. He had some unbelievable moments. And I remember watching Florida and just being like, this guy is Missoula ball. He's Peyton Pritchard. He's just firing up threes, brass balls confidence. Like, considering the Drew Holiday looming uncertainty and also, like, probably won't happen, but Derek White is being, like, monitored by teams too, it doesn't hurt to bring in more talent at the guard spot. So you guys have him mocked. Tell us what you think.
I think like I said, Kalkbrenner earlier, I think Clayton would be like, we're sprinting to the podium. We've got to get him. And it's kind of a weird fit because of the guards and everything. But it's funny because every time I like Clayton there, then I look up Pritchard's contract and I'm like, oh, he's here that much longer. Like, I'm like, I always think it's 2 years shorter than it is. But with Clayton, it's, Sam is exactly what he said. It's like, it's the perfect Missoula ball guy. It's almost like a shout out to the past, but it's almost like when they rolled the dice on Carson Edwards and stuff like that. But like that idea, but Clayton's just so much more gifted shooting and fluid and quicker. And like Carson needed to load up. Clayton's like I hate using this name, but Clayton has that like Steph Curry, just like, I don't need a win. Like I can shoot.
Clip it. I'm clipping it.
No, stop. It's just like, you could smother him and he just needs a little bit of a window. Cause like his movement shooting, he shoots off balance. The form still stays kind of the same, no matter how his lower body's going. I just think like you could get dangerous and be like, we're going to add this microwave scorer to even get a little crazier. Especially if Tatum's out, maybe you're like, well, screw it. Why not? Let's just get some more firepower offensively. So I don't know. I think it'd be probably a smart character, like high intangibles. We're looking down the road also to prepare for some rough waters when it comes to like our backcourt might look very different in a couple months.
It's true. Yeah, I'm just so on that same track where I'm like, man, this guy could be Peyton Pritchard if they ask Peyton Pritchard to do more. He can be the bench guy. And also, Pritchard is this unbelievable workhorse that, like, Jay King did the article of him doing his off-season training regimens where he was just having dudes come in to play him one-on-one, and he had 2 cones shoulder width apart where he had to try and get past the defender in that window. Like, the psycho stuff Pritchard does to be a better basketball player would be a really good example for somebody like Clayton. Clayton, who's 22, like, so Kalkbrenner's 23. These guys I'm talking about are more NBA physically developed ready, in the skill set development, in the mindset, in the know-how is really what's going to have to come along.
You know, it's my absolute dream for the Celtics right now. Obviously, I'm just saying the realistic dream is they get Kalkbrenner and Clayton. That would be my haul. And I think there's a real shot they could get that. Now, Jack mentioned some names where I would be like, oh gosh, yes, I'm freaking out. Like if Sorber was there, we're dancing. Danny Wolf's there, we're all probably like cue the duck boats. But I think realistically, like if they added Clayton and Kalkbrenner and then you make some tough, off-season trades, I think Shireman's going to take a big step up with his play next year. Maybe you get Clayton and you say, hey, Pritchard, this is a nod to you. Like, we believe you're ready for even more of a role. Defensively could get a little weird. Offensively, you might just be cooking. Like, you don't know. So it's a tough offseason because you really got to either swing for a new direction or you got to kind of trust your development of some of these players. And I thought when they took Shireman last year that it could be Hauser time. Like it could be like, hey, this could be the last year for Hauser around, and maybe there's
could be
the torch. You never know. Like I don't know. So a lot of different directions they could go.
Okay. So when I was looking at stuff this morning, I looked at like 6 bigs and 6 guards, and Clayton was like number 1 of my guards. I'm like, the way he gets to his shots is like, oh wow, that dude just pulls up. It's crazy to watch. So yeah, we'll see about that. Okay. I have another guy that you guys have mocked a lot higher than a bunch of other outlets I see. And so I need you to convince me that Rasheer Fleming can't play Al Horford 5-man ball. Is he more of a forward than a center? Because I'm watching him and I'm like, oh, that guy can shoot. He's an athlete. He's a freak. I just don't know if he's big enough to play the 5.
He's like I'm trying to give a pro comp. He's like a 4. Rasheer is like one of my guys. I love him. I saw him preseason at Damian Lillard's like Formula 0 camp, and it was a bunch of NBA prospects like PJ Edgecombe, who's going to be a top 5, top 6 pick. Asa Newell was there, and then Rasheer was there. And like the moment he walked in the gym, and this is at like, hey, I just got the hangover from the last year's class, so I'm trying to like reboot the engines, and I was like, okay, who's this? And I was like, that's Rasheer Fleming, and he's just humongous. He looks like a NFL defensive end if the defensive end was 6'9". He's got like a 7'4", 7'5" wingspan. Like he looks like he was built in a lab, and he's very simple. Like he could be Al when it comes to knowing his role, very comfortable in it, plays good defense, floor spacer. Like those are all legit stuff. The in-between game is like, he doesn't have a great handle, but he knows he doesn't have a great handle. So it's one of those, like I asked the team about him. They're like, I really like the kid. And they're like, he knows, he's humbled. He knows what he is. He knows what he's going to be at the next level. He knows like, I'm not going to be isolation guy that give me the ball, let me go to work. He's just like, he knows his role, he plays it well, and he's comfortable with that. So that would be a very Brad Stevens pick. It would also be one that like 3 games into the year, Celtics fans would be like, oh yeah, we love Rasheer Fleming. Like he's that good. He's nasty defensively. So wouldn't shock me if he somehow is on the board, just because the versatility is a little bit lacking, but it's also like the 3-and-D that's super stretched out. The teams are probably like, this is awesome. One of those guys that you're always trying to find in free agency, but the team that drafted him never wants to give him away. So it's like, all right, maybe. But yeah, he'd be a great one.
Yeah, Yahoo has him at 25. So it's possible. Like, I know the range is crazy, with you guys at 13, them at 25. I'm sure plenty of teams have differing opinions on where they would pick these guys.
Bleacher Reports at 26, yeah.
26? Okay.
I think he could be there because around, what is it? 10? It's like 10 to, off the top of my head, it's like 10 to 15-ish, maybe 10 to 14. There's just like teams don't need guards. So I think teams could be trading up to go get guards, which means like Rasheer could fall a little bit. And like we see like a couple trades happen, and all of a sudden it's like everyone's kind of panic mode to like, okay, what's our board looking at now? Like our option just came off the table, and then maybe Rasheer Fleming's just there. So wouldn't shock me if he ends up in the 20s. It's just one of those two. Like I could see a team falling in love with him, kind of like what we talked about with Danny Wolf of like eye of the beholder where you're like, we're adding Rasheer Fleming, a lengthy 3-and-D. This is perfect for us. So it's one of those like OKC's on the board and says, yep, we'll add this to the mix. And you're like, gosh, really? This is what they have now? Or he falls down a little bit and, the Celtics are doing, backflips in the war room.
I didn't even tell you guys about Gametime because I fear
Tell them.
Far from the ad placement.
Can we look at Tyler the Creator, please, every time we do this? Because I'm just sitting here monitoring ticket prices because I'm putting off buying them.
Let's go check out Tyler the Creator. Gametime is the best place for all your ticketing needs. Sporting events, absolutely, but also concerts, theater, and comedy shows you can check out there. Let me go over. I'll search Tyler the Creator here for Sam, just so we know exactly what we're checking out here. Tyler the Creator is coming to Boston. TD Garden, you can see here some of the best values. This is what they claim is a super deal. My favorite part about Gametime is that you can see the exact view from the seat that you are potentially sitting in. So you know exactly what you're going to be seeing from that seat. You know exactly what you're going to be looking at for that type of venue too. It's not a basketball court there. You can see what you're going to be seeing for a concert at TD Garden, which I think is a very useful thing to be able to have. On top of that, you can see the super deal that they list right there. This is what they view as the best possible value for your money, best bang for your buck here. You can also see the fire emblem, which tells you the cheapest get-in price for what you're going to potentially be paying. On top of that, you can toggle on and off the fees, so you know exactly what you're paying before you get to checkout, which is a positive, so you don't get surprised at the end with any hidden fees. Plus, zone deals mean you can pick an area of the stadium or venue where you don't know exactly where you're sitting, but you can get a discount because in that zone you'll definitely be, but you won't get to pick your seat. Plus, last minute deals, which means you can save up to 60% buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. All of that good stuff. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
My favorite thing about this is comp Brandon Bass.
No, he's no. Much more of an athlete and like shooter. Like Rasheer developed into like a pick and pop from well beyond the arc type of guy. Bass had the mid-range heavy. It's funny, I was doing
never missed.
Yeah, never missed. I was doing one of our draft guides last night, and someone compared someone to Brandon Bass. And I was like, I did not need to see that name right now. Shout out mid-range.
Jesus. All right. What you got, Sam?
I've got one. Might not be there. I'm very intrigued by the physicals, meaning Igor is a 6'9" point guard from BYU. He's mocked in the late teens by Yahoo. From you guys, he's late teens, 17 to Minnesota. Maybe he's the type of guy that they would trade up for. Maybe that 6'9" frame would make him a versatile, switchable defender if his body was able to develop. Curious what you think about him.
I'm just helping you guys out because I pronounced it the same way the whole first 2 months, and I do this for a living, basically.
Wait, can I try first?
No.
Yeah, go for it. Go ahead.
First. Is it Jaeger Demon?
Jaeger.
Yeah,
it's really annoying. I hate it.
And his last name's not Demon?
I said Demon, and then I think someone on Yahoo or someone on YouTube that's from overseas kept saying I'm pronouncing the N wrong. I still say Demon, so I'm waiting to hear from that guy again. I don't think he'll be there, Sam. I don't think
okay.
He'll be there. He measured way bigger than people were thinking. He's like one of the best playmaking, just natural feel guys I've seen in a long time. It's that special. Just makes some plays. They're like, oh my gosh. And it's not even just like the assists. It's just reads he makes. He's had an awesome pre-draft process. I think he's going to go like top 10 right now.
Wow.
Yeah, he's knocked it out of the park. I think he's interviewed great. He measured way bigger than people thought. People have loved his workouts. Like, and I'm just connecting the dots. Like, usually when you're checking those emphatically, I'm like, that means you're going up pretty fast. And teams were much higher on him when I talked to them throughout the year than the public was, which I was like, I get, because they were just like, you can't teach the feel. You can't teach the size. There's too many roads in which he can at least work. His shot needs work. He's not really great creating off the bounce. One of those guys that like people like to point out, like he always needs the screen to get open. And it's like, well, they run a lot of screens in the NBA level.
Sounds like the whole NBA.
Yeah, I was like,
just,
that's the
just
NBA game.
mismatch hunting.
And Kevin Young is their coach, who was with the Suns forever. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to be there, but he's a fun one.
Yeah, he's just shooting up the draft boards. They all feel bad because they keep calling him Igor. He's like, it's Jaeger. So, fuck, our bad, we'll draft you higher.
And I hear he's a great kid too. So I just keep connecting dots. I'm like, okay, he's not going to fall. So I don't know who's going to do it, but it's just right now, from what I've heard recently, he's really going up in a hurry.
Okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's a good one, though.
Makes sense. Before we get to the next scouting prospect, what's our friend's name in the background over there? I saw him climb up on your couch.
This is Murphy. There's my golden doodle,
out.
Murphy. Sorry, I tried. He loves to just
do not apologize.
Background. So yeah, he's
it.
struggling right now. If you see,
I appreciate the apology as a cat person. So it goes a long way.
Loser, he doesn't get out of here. Cat person off the stage. You're gone, bro. Cat.
I thought he got kicked off the stage for a second. I was looking down. I saw the teams. I was like, thank you.
Okay. Next guy I got for you. I'll do a guard now. I've gone through a few bigs. I watched. I hopefully don't mess this up either. Labaron Philon. Is that how you say it?
LeBaron
Philon. Okay.
I mess him up all the time, and I talk about him every week, or these guys every week. So it's fine.
Okay.
It's okay.
So Philon, from what I watched, right, he looks like a pretty good athlete, handles the ball pretty well, finishes around the rim well. Shooting form's a bit weird, but I watched some defensive highlights where he is like blocking shots and standing guys up a la Derek White. And I was like, oh, I like that a lot. And I spent the whole video. I'm like, I don't know. And then I watched those. I was like, oh, never mind. I'm back. You got me back in. So tell me a little bit about Philon, if you don't mind.
I think he could be a real shot to be a Celtic. He's a pit bull defensively. Offensively, the shot needs some work, and Stevens loves to take those guys. But it's like, he does so many good things with playmaking, and he's so shifty with the ball in his hands and slithery. Little thin. He's at 6'4", but he's like 180-ish. So he's a little thin, but it's like, it's also that thinness where it's just, he's so like, he's a snake through traffic, and you almost don't want to add too much weight to that because it kind of takes away that effectiveness. But defensively, he's just nasty. Like he's we've got
like that
draft guy coming out, and on his profile we have badges, and one of them's like he's got that dog in him. He's an absolute dog defensively. So Philon would be a really good upside swing, because I think he does a lot of really good stuff that even if like Clayton was there and Philon, I'd probably be like, I wouldn't be shocked if they took Philon, because it's just a long-term play, and if he works out, you've got a really nice asset in the rotation in the backcourt, especially.
Yeah, anytime you can get somebody who's a defender, right? It feels like it makes their NBA longevity a little longer. It's like that in elite shooting. You need a little bit of both. But it's certainly an encouraging thing. And he's only 19, played on an Alabama team that was largely very good this season. So he can fit in with, high-level play.
He was also one of those prospects we weren't really kind of expecting to just keep popping, and all of a sudden it was like, okay, we need to start paying attention to Philon for this year. And yeah, he's good at navigating. He moves around. He stays alert offensively. Like even with the shot a little in question, like he's kind of got that Rondo where he can keep moving around like screens to get somebody else open. Like he just stays patient that way. It's not over dribbling, but it's just like you can see he's trying to create something. The shot just needs, and it's not like completely broken. It just looks like something that needs a lot of reps and probably a good staff to work with him. But there's just so many good tools, and then you pair that with the defense. Yeah, and an athlete. So I mean, it's a good. I was trying to figure out a way, because when you told me to come on here, I was trying to figure out a way to compare him to JD Davison, but I don't like the JD Davison thing, because I just think he's way better prospect. No offense to the G League star. But Philon just has like a really good foundation of skills where it's like, okay, if you can unlock the shot, you're running full sprint now. I think he does a lot of really good stuff. Anti-Missoula ball when it comes to the 3-point shooting, but defensively probably Missoula ball.
Gotcha. Okay. I like that.
I've got interest in Cedric Coward. I've seen the name thrown around a little bit. I think he might be out of their range, but I've also seen stuff where he's in the 20s where there's a possibility. I know the 22-year-old or 21-year-old age certainly does move him down boards for some people, which is probably a good thing for the Celtics, because I truly think one of their biggest needs is just somebody who's physically ready to eat minutes. So I'm interested and the player comp's Kawhi, so always going to perk up a little bit.
He's the story of the draft right now. Everyone's trying to figure out where he's going to go. So he's committed to Duke. He's had such a good pre-draft process. I don't think he's ever going to step foot on campus there. So he came from D3 all the way up to, I think he went Eastern Washington, or whatever. And then he ended up at Washington State last year. He played 6 games, had a shoulder injury. I think if he played the whole year, he would have been like a first-round lock. Really lengthy, really good shot. Kind of some Michael Bridges vibes, but not the weird like shot overhaul. That was a weird thing. So it's really smooth. I like the Kawhi thing. I get it. I've seen that too, and I was like, yeah, it's hard to really argue against that because they kind of play that way with the balance, the shot, like movement. Defensively, he's nasty. Like he's really nasty. He can get up to. So everyone's trying to figure out right now, like where, because you could talk into lottery, you could talk into first round. Like no one really knows because he's an unknown guy right now. I've had this crazy rise to get to this level and only played 6 games last year. So it's just one of those like, okay, where, I think everyone's asking around right now, like, well, where's the range? So it wouldn't be shocking to me if he's there. I think he's got a little bit of momentum right now, but it's like how much momentum is that going to carry with a guy that only played, 6 games? So going to be interesting.
Interesting.
I can't wait to see. Like I'm so mad the draft is a month away.
Yeah.
Sitting thinking about it, I'm like, damn, I want to know, like, are they going to have Cedric Howard on the board? Are they going to be able to get Walter Clayton? They're going to go after Kalkbrenner?
We did a tier list last year.
Well, that's the scary part. That's the scary part right now is like if the draft was next week, I might be like, hey, Coward's got a shot. But right now I'm like, we got still a month, which seems quick. And it's also like a lot of stuff could happen in a month to really get like you get one guy goes to a team workout and that starts getting around of like, oh, he really shot it bad. And you're like, oh, that's going to get around.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard he had a bad workout. We should spread that.
Exactly.
Him and Cooper Flagg went to the same workout. And it looked like the Monstars got to both of them, and they didn't know how to play basketball.
Yeah, it's the scary part is I'll see that probably on like ESPN. Bad workout for Cooper Flagg.
Yes.
Falling out of the top 3? Next.
Falling out of the top 27 is what I'm hearing.
But you don't know. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, there is a lot of guys that could end up on the board still.
It's so funny. I just pulled up like our tier list of guys we wanted the Celtics to take last year.
Let's read it because we can see how they did.
It's so bad.
Well, we had Shireman on there. We had Shireman.
We talked about him. I was like,
we had Shireman. We had Shireman A tier, so we were like, we had that. We were a little bit high. We had Mobo as our S tier. That was our dream. We really wanted Mobo. That was like our Celtics dream, which I still think he's pretty good, but we'll see what he turns into in the Toronto Raptors. We're going to draft every lengthy prospect available to us landscape where he's competing with all those guys. We also had Chomsky A tier, so maybe we were less apt.
But I think we were also thinking, for what it's worth, we were thinking about the 55th pick too.
Yeah,
for whatever they had. So take it with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to trade out of the first. What I was told is they were going to trade out of the first until Shireman was on the board, and I think they all looked around like, we're taking Baylor. Like, okay. I think it was like 100% trading out, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, we're not passing on Baylor Shireman. So they're very, I think, ecstatic, and I think that's why I think second-year Baylor is going to shock some people.
Well, we heard the Fisher report from March, too, when he was talking for the first time about like the kind of changes that are coming, and he mentioned Holiday. And one of the things he said is they feel really good about Shireman and his ability to maybe take on some more responsibility if there's more minutes.
He's just one of those. He will get like he's shown to get so much better. Like in college, he kind of did this where it's like the next year leap happened and then another next year leap. So it's like You could tell that means he's probably going to work his butt off in the offseason and be like, what do I need to do? All right, fine, let's go. And I, in a weird way, I almost thought like when Tatum got hurt, I was like, I kind of would throw Shireman out there just because he's like, he would never back down. Now, I'm not saying I would have played him 20 minutes, but I've been like, let's just see what he's got. So that's why I think they're probably high on him for year 2, because I think size, toughness, I think he will shock some people.
Okay. Love to hear that. So yeah, we have Mobo S tier, Chomchi Shireman A tier. Our B tier was a Dem Bona and Pacome Daddy which I think Bona turned out pretty good.
That
But
was a good tier right there. Yeah.
okay. C tier, we had AJ Johnson and Ryan Dunn. We were a little lower on them, which I think Ryan Dunn was an L because he's pretty good. And then our D tier was, I can't see some of these. We had Quentin Post D tier, which considering
It turned out okay. It's
Started
good that
turning out
he was on the radar.
Yeah. He was
Started
good.
in the playoffs. This is a good
was
list.
really
You should
good.
be proud of this list.
And then, well, I think you helped us with this.
That's exactly
We did not like Tyler Smith at all. We were out on Tyler Smith.
It's a good list.
We had, who else? We had Enrique Freeman. We were like D tier. We didn't like him very much. And then who is this last guy? I can't seem to find who this last guy is on our list that we have D tier. PJ Hall.
Find it hard.
We were like, whatever. PJ Hall.
Hard to believe that we didn't have Tyler Kolek on the list.
Yeah.
How did
You're
I
the
let
Rhode
that
Island
happen?
guy.
I don't know how I let that happen. Maybe he
Um,
was like hypothetically out of the range.
Maybe. Oh, this is
That-
okay
that
list
makes
though.
sense.
I feel all right.
Actually, there were like no guards on that list except AJ Johnson.
Yeah, we didn't think they were going to take guards. We
Because
focused on
Pritchard
bigs.
and Drew and
and
Derek.
Yeah, we
Jackie
were still running the
and
high.
Springer.
Yeah, we were like, they're not trading. We could have used Springer.
You said what you want about Springer. We went to that summer league game and I walked away. I was like, this is the greatest player I've ever seen.
I watched
How'd
that
that
first
work?
game and I was
Yeah.
like, he's going to
Yes.
be a legit piece. This is
He was
it.
only
And then they traded him,
21.
and I was
Like, I'm holding my stock a little bit. I like him.
Okay, you keep holding that.
Bring him back.
At least I know when to dump. At least I know when to dump my stock. I love.
I've never sold a stock NBA or Robinhood ever.
I hated when they traded him. It's like, I feel like we need him in a playoff series when we're banged up. Can we do like a GoFund? Like, can the Celtics be like, hey guys, here's the message to our fans. We have to pay a big penalty. We're going to trade this guy. If you want us to keep him, we're starting a GoFund page.
I said if I had
like, I
10
get
million, I would have done it myself. I
Like,
would
here's
have paid.
$10.
You don't believe that. If you had $10 million, you wouldn't use it on Jaden Springer, and I know in your heart of hearts you don't believe that.
If I only had $10 million, probably not. But if I had $10 million to throw around, I would do it.
The NIL for the NBA. Just, do you want to keep your
Yeah,
players?
it's just like me. I'm a booster. They have to like take down the Celtics championship banners, or they have an asterisk on them because they got illegal funding from boosters.
NBA booster is such a funny idea. What else?
Okay.
What are you guys rooting for? Or what else would you? Any other names?
I have a few.
Okay.
I know we
Hit
had a viewer said he emailed us, but I don't see it in our inbox of guys that the Celtics could draft. Like he sent us a list last year, so I'm sure we can go over it. But I saw a name that I think he performed really well at the combine. That I don't know if it's hype. I don't know how high his stock's gonna go. Hansen Yang. He's like a huge from the Chinese basketball league. Is that like real hype? Is that like, I don't know. He just had a good combine. Like, what is that level?
He's been like a YouTube favorite for the last 2 years, and he's very skilled. He played summer league for China. They kind of played at the California Classic against like the Kings, and I think it was the Hornets. He's very skilled offensively. You watch his YouTube stuff, like when he's playing over in China, and you'll be like, "Is this Jokic?" He's just humongous, like passing skills and stuff. But then, like sometimes I see he's dunking on people, and I'm like, "Is that guy 6 inches shorter than him?" Like, but he is gigantic. I think he had a great combine. I don't know if first round seems really rich for me still. I'm kind of fascinated to see if he's 100% going to be in, or if he's going to be in because he's a stash guy. I don't know, but I think some team will probably take a swing, but I think you could probably get him a little bit later.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Got you.
I'm scrolling through the list right now. I have no prior knowledge. I don't care for the comps. But I do think it would be a little funny if they drafted Miles Bird, just so they could have another guy called Bird on the team.
But he's. Let me try it.
Bird with a Y for the listeners.
Yeah, he was cooking up boards and then just got like ice cold for like the last stretch of the season, and we're kind of like at no things. We're like, does he need to go back? Kind of like Tayshaun Prince. If you're looking for just like a quick like
Former
who's this
Celtic.
guy? Yeah, he's Tayshaun Prince of like lengthy, 6'7", skinny, but just fills it up when it comes to steals and blocks. Offensively, he's more of a catch and shoot guy that like will really pull from deep, but you're sometimes like you're not that good of a shooter yet, so maybe we'd need to pull it in a little bit. But good length, good athlete. It'd be kind of doubling down on Jordan Walsh, who I feel like I still think they think this is the year for Jordan Walsh to like take that step. But
Okay.
I'm getting lost on Jordan Walsh. I'm
don't-
getting a little lost.
I don't know how I feel about him either. I just think Shireman has like leapfrogged him, and Missoula doesn't
Yes.
care for him anymore, so it's gonna be hard for him to.
We're gonna
climb.
find out if they trade a bunch of
Yes.
guys and they're gonna play both of them. We're gonna find out. So I mean,
True.
But yeah, it would probably be like, okay, the writing's on the wall there, but he'd probably be with that second round pick. They could get him, or they could trade back and get him.
Gotcha. Okay.
But little just all over the place. I think he's going to be the deadline to withdraw is the 28th, so he's one of the names everyone's kind of keeping an eye on too. There's like 6 or 7 guys.
Speaking of deadline to withdraw, I think you texted me briefly about this. Alex Condon, I saw as the name for like a long, long time, and I think he's really good. Is he going to stay in the draft? Do you like him for the Celtics? I suppose is both good questions. Or
I'm from what I've heard, leaning towards no. I don't think he's going to be in the draft. If he is, they're in perfect Alex Condon range, I think, because I think he could be an intriguing get. Really skilled, good feel, measured way bigger than I thought he was going to be. He had a bad tournament, but it was also like he was really hurt. He had like 2 games where like he injured his leg, and I was like, it looks like his knee's just torn, and he like came back and played right away. I was like, how is he walking? And then he like did it 2 games later, and I was like, again, how is he walking? And then he just continued to play. So I was like, what's going on? So I think he was just really banged up, and that's why his play struggled. People were like, hey, he's a little soft, and I was like, well, I think he's just really banged up and hurt right now. So he'd be an intriguing one.
Sounds like another big guy we all know.
Yeah,
Just everybody calling him soft, always hurt. Well, not always hurt, but hurt in the or maybe ailed in the big
ailed.
bright lights.
but
Well, no, I'm trying to take it away from Condon. Maybe he's not always hurt.
No. It was just like I think he had like a bad run of like a couple like maybe one game like a guy fell on him or something. But he would be a really good value swing if they had with one of those picks. You're like, okay, we're getting Alex Condon. I'll be like, okay, this could surprise. Could be a nice one. Like because he's huge, but he's got some fluidity to like throw down some big oops that you're like, whoa, you can get up like that and can get a little nasty. Has some very skilled. So I would like that if he stays in. I'm prepared for him not to be, but it would be a pleasant surprise if he's in because I'd be like, this is another fun wrinkle. So I'm not sure, but yeah, that would be a good one.
The only way Horford doesn't retire is if they draft Clayton and Condon.
That'd be an incredible.
He's got Brad. Just listen, I'm not playing unless you bring in the chop boy. The chomp.
He just
boys.
comes into the office just doing the gator chomp, and he's like, "That's the only way I'm coming back.
Yeah,
I need 2."
You know what to do.
Brad would do it. He'd do it
Brad
too.
would be like, all right, let's go.
And what's his name? He'd beg like Thomas Haw to get in the draft. Like, please, please, please. If that's
That
how
would
you
have
say
been a
it.
fun one. If he was in it, man, that would have been a fun wrinkle. But yeah, I mean, we never know that he's the name. I talked to a scout yesterday, and it's like everyone's waiting on him, and like there's just 5 other. Everyone's like, I think they're taking it down to the deadline because a lot of these guys are like, hey, I want to guarantee that I'm going first, or I'm not. I'm going back, especially now with the NIL. People are like, I'm going back.
Okay. Sam, you want to do some rapid fire? Throw some names at him and then get out of here, so we're not taking up your entire day.
Oh,
Tyler.
you're fine. Well, come on, it's draft season. I can talk for the whole day. But yeah, hit me with whatever you got.
Okay, I'll go. Or you can go.
Go ahead.
My guy, a little undersized, Ryan Nemhard. older prospect Gonzaga guy. He's a little short, a little feisty. His
Last
shot's a little
name's
weird,
gotcha.
but
Just
Yeah,
been thinking
yeah,
about
a
the
little
playoffs.
bit.
You're just like,
No,
yeah.
got me intrigued at least.
I'd probably throw a two-way at him if I
Okay.
was lucky, or try to sneak into the end of the second round. It's not anything against Nemhard. I just think it's the depth of the guard class. He's around 5'11", but it's also like a 5'11", a guy that might go to the G League and quickly everyone finds out like, okay, he's better than playing in the G League. No slander to those guys because he's just such a smart player and facilitator.
10 assists
so.
in college, right?
Yeah, which is a big number. Like anytime you're in that double digits for college as an assist, it's a big number.
9,
So
8.
he can play. Just one of those, like the size and stuff's probably gonna
Small.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it really is just because like how deep the guard class is. Like I just think there's other guys too that could push him down a little bit, but someone smart's gonna throw a two-way deal at him.
Okay.
If they're lucky. Someone else might be like, we're not gonna let that opportunity happen. We're gonna draft him in the second round and then throw it. So I don't know.
Gotcha.
I will throw out Cam Jones. I've watched not a lot of college basketball, but when I do watch, it's typically the Big East because Providence and, we're from the Northeast. You have no choice but to pay attention to the Big East. And, of course, Kolek was a teammate of his, so I had to be paying attention.
I kind of think this might be one of my dark horse guys for Celtics fans to watch in that first, second round. And because I love Walter Clayton, but Cam, he's just one of those guys I can't quit because I think everyone kind of will look at his game and be like, okay, the numbers dropped a little bit this year, but it's also like, well, they lost Tyler Kolek, they lost Oso Iguodaro, they lost two big pieces on that team. He had an incredible season last year and came with like efficiency, and this year he just got everyone was focused on Cam Jones. So like he got all the attention. He still put up really good numbers, but he's 6'5", super shifty, tough, crafty. Like I just kind of I get intrigued every time. I'm like, this could work in this rotation. Maybe you get him in there and toughness, scoring ability, upside. So I think Cam, he hasn't had a ton of buzz right now. So I'm trying to figure out like, well, maybe Cam, you get Kalkbrenner in the first and then you get Cam in the second. Maybe you can go that way if Clayton somehow goes before. I don't know, but I think that's a good one. That would be like on my watch list.
It just dawned on me.
Yeah, go ahead.
That the Celtics could sit through night one of the draft and then trade 28 after we sat there for 2 hours. Now I'm nervous because I was like, well, what if they trade 28, then they pick Kalkbrenner 32, and then they pick Jones.
Nothing can be worse than Jordan Wall.
The Jordan Wall draft was the worst day ever. It was 500 degrees in my house. I had a 5 a.m. flight, and we were just sitting there waiting for them to pick, and they kept trading back.
I literally, the day I meet Stevens, I might call him out on that. Like, why did you guys trade back 14 times? Every time you took a player, I liked them, and then you traded back. But then now it's like, okay, well, hey, I can't complain too much. But yeah, that was my least favorite draft. I don't know. And it's also scary. Like they could just trade Porzingis and attach 28 to dump him or something. And that's my ultimate nightmare as just a fan of the draft in the Celtics.
Mm-hmm. When I was looking through like these scouting things, I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, this player could be this Celtics player. This player could be this. It's like how I said, can Fleming be Horford? Can Kalkbrenner be Cornette? I looked at cards and at I need to emphasize, I know that they aren't these players, but I was like, Cam Jones, Drew Holiday, and file on Derek White. I was like looking at those. I'm like, you see the athleticism, the blocking, the shiftiness, maybe a little bit of skinnier. And then I saw Cam Jones. I was like, he's a bit slower, but he's stocky and he can, throw his weight around. So I need to emphasize at the very smallest level, I'm not comparing them to those players. And I was like, I could see how you could want to build a framework around that idea.
Yeah, Cam's just got a little bit of like toughness to him that I feel like would work well with the roster, where I think he'd just be like, all right, let's go. Like, I don't care who's on the court. Like, I'm ready to go. So I don't know. I just kind of like him as like a name that's not being talked enough right now, where I feel like I'm always taking in when I'm scouting these guys. Like when he didn't declare last year, I was like, this is gonna be a tough one for Cam. Like he's gonna try to step up that with way more attention and way more responsibility. It's just we see it happen all the time. You usually don't have a great year because now it's like you're the guy offensively. It's not Tyler Kolek. You don't have Oso Iguodaro next to you. You got to go to work. So I just think that's the one that I'm like, I wonder if someone like Stevens, who's been obviously looking at these guys for years, or their scouting department's like, maybe Cam Jones is on our list. And maybe that's on our list of guys we're bringing in to get a further look at, which obviously I expect. But I like him. I think that's another name for sure.
Cool. I need to ask you about Chennai Broom. I mean, he's one of the best players in college basketball, and everyone's is like, can he actually play at the NBA level? Is it going to hold up? Like, is he big enough? Is he quick enough? And then you look and you're like, oh, he can rebound. Oh, he's a monster. Oh, he does this. He does this. He's a really good passer. Don't know if the shot's there, but as, a draft evaluator, how well do you think he'll hold up at the NBA level? And do you think the Celtics should consider it?
I think he is a legit name to keep an eye on there. I'm not the biggest fan, but it makes, like I've said this for months, it makes all the sense for them if they are a believer, because he is a little Horford like. He had a bad athletic testing and people were kind of jumping all over that, and it's like, well, he's much better in the game when it comes to anticipation of getting the ball at the right time when it comes to his blocks. Yes, he's not going to win any dunk contest or anything, but he's just Horford's really good at when you're going up, he knows when to get the ball, not to wait for it to get as high as possible. So Broom can pass a little bit. He can step out and shoot it. Good shot blocker. He's just older. I think he played at South Dakota State for a couple of years and then Auburn the last two. So really skilled. I just have always said I'd like to get him in the second. If you love him, I understand if you have that early second and you're just we're getting him, but I don't know. I think it makes a lot of sense. It would sort of make more sense to me if they were trying to keep a bunch of guys, and Broom is Cornette replacement, your third big or something. But
that makes sense.
That's kind of where I'm at. Kalkbrenner, I think, could be your backup. Broom, I would like to be a third that is groomed into being the backup. If that, I don't know. And you could argue maybe he could be the backup, but I don't know. He's just not my preference, but if the Celtics were picking 40th, I like Broom there. I think that's a good swing. But at 28, I'd be like, if he interviewed great and you love him, okay, go for it. I get it.
Cool.
Currently looking at Maxi Renaud from Stanford, 7'1". We're staying on the big man. I mean, it just feels like big man guard, even though wings are always an exciting thing to think about, the needs with the guys probably exiting are going to be big and guard.
I think this could be Porzingis replacement. He's from France. I think he grew up, he's a swimmer. He's 7'1", 7'2" ish, can really shoot. He moves with the ball in his hand and you're like, whoa, you can move like this. Jack asked about Danny Wolf. This is kind of a Danny Wolf hybrid where it's he's more little more fits the size. Danny Wolf just moves around. You're this that makes no sense. Renaud's just rebounds tough, has really good skills. I think he'd be a really good pick and pop guy. He had a good pre-draft combine. I think I've heard some good things about his interviews. I think he'd be really good get for them. I like that option a lot. He's just one of those, he puts up crazy numbers and then you watch some of the tape and you're like, man, he can do some stuff that you're just whew. But defensively, there's just needs some work, but he battles, he's tough. But the scoring, the skills are really, really good.
Okay. That's encouraging. I mean, he might be out of their range. He's mocked at 23 on Yahoo. You guys have him where?
We might have had him early second, but I think ours was before the combine and stuff. I think 39. He's going to go in the first round.
39. Okay.
I think he's going to go in the first, and I think he could be in the Celtics range for sure. And I think that'd be a really good pick if they got him.
Cool. I have two more guards that I looked at. One I didn't love. The other, I think these are 5 and 6 of the 6 guys I looked at. So maybe you can tell me I'm wrong because I don't actually know anything.
Yeah.
Hunter Salas was one that I thought was good energy guy. Wasn't sure what he could do. His jumper is a little bit weird looking. And then Ben Seraph, I know he's typical overseas, really good playmaker guy, but again, jumper's not great. How good of a defender is he really? That sort of stuff. So, what do you think of those two guys?
Seraph could be the name that falls a little bit because of everybody else is kind of getting some juice and momentum. But he's so crafty. A lot of Goran Dragic vibes with his game, but he's like 6'5", just can play. Magician when it comes to his playmaking. You'd be drafting him being like, if we can unlock anything of a consistent jumper, we've got a guy, just because the feel's that good. Yeah, I think Sarf could have it. It could be one of those names where if he's still on the board, I'm like, oh, this could be a little fun. It would be a little weird, but it might be really, really fun. What was the other name? Sorry.
Salas.
Probably a little bit later. He had an awesome year last year. I was shocked he didn't declare. But there's a funny story behind the scenes that I'll tell you guys off the air. But he's like really crafty isolation, good mid-range game, good size for like a floor general. I just kind of try to figure out like, is the rest of the game going to come around when it comes to like the playmaking and everything? But Salas is a bucket. I think he started his career out in Gonzaga, transferred over to Forest. And yeah, I mean, I just think he's probably like early, mid, second round guy right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out of ammo. I was looking at Salas. I was looking at Saram as we were talking about him. I can't see guys like Saram and just not think
Seraph?
like... Oh, Seraph. I don't know why I get that
That's why I'm here. It's all right. It's okay.
Seraph. I just can't think of like somebody like Mario Azonia.
Oh,
or just like guys like that had like high expectations and they come over and they don't really deliver. But I feel like that age of European player going so high in the draft is almost over. Like you think like 10 years ago, you're seeing Saric as a lottery pick and Mario Azonia is a lottery pick, and now some of the best players in the league are just world players.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a fun year. They're in a good spot. There's a lot of names that I think could shock and be on the board still. I know I've said that a couple times, but I think they're in a good spot. I really always do feel like that way. Now I know that Celtics fans are like, "Well, Tatum's hurt. How are you saying we're in a good spot?" It's like I just feel you're in a good spot to either intrigue a team in a trade or to get a couple pieces to stop the bleeding. Even if it's a small bandage for a big cut.
I like the sound of that. Last thing, is there anybody we missed? Is there any player you're like, if the Celtics can get this guy or this is the perfect range, like is there anybody we did not bring up that you think we should have brought up or that we should watch? Because we're going to do a million
drafts.
Yeah,
of course there is. Are you kidding me? Well, what do you want? Do you want an upside swing or do you want a guy that's going to help the Celtics next year right away?
Absolutely anything. I think we're going to try to pump out like these 10-minute videos of us looking at players and then do a monster tier list. So literally anything you've got. I mean, I see a few in your guys' mock draft that I could have brought up, but I'm curious if anybody jumps out to you.
I just don't know if they're going to take another wing. I'll say Johan Berenger. Mm-hmm. He's a big. I would keep an eye on him. I love him. He's only been playing basketball for 3 years. He has unbelievable gifts defensively. As a big, he's gigantic. He's got great length, really bouncy. Blocks some shots, runs the floor like a guard, and very efficient around the basket. I had a scout be like, I love him. Great kid. I think he could be a Jared Allen type of player. So he could go much earlier because teams also know that he's developing this quick. He played soccer his whole life. A fun story about him. He played soccer his whole life, got to a point where he couldn't find cleats his size. And his friend said, you should try basketball. And that's how he fell in love with basketball. So it's a fun story. Good kid. He's also just motor is always running. So I'd watch him. I don't think he'll be there, but maybe he could. And it's just like, this is a great upside pick. I don't know if Liam McNeely is going to be there, but he's had a weird year and process after being like a 5-star recruit. He was at UConn. Mm-hmm. Kind of Shireman-like when it comes to like the idea of him, but I just don't know. I have weird vibes like he could go earlier because he's a big recruit, or he could be on the board and it's like, are the Celtics going to pass him up? Like, I don't know. So that would be like adding another wing that could potentially shoot it. Hugo Gonzalez, maybe another international guy. I don't know if the Celtics are also going to try to stash someone. That's why, like, I think there's a really good stash guys that you just kind of need to be open-minded about this year. Hugo Gonzalez, I think, would be like, if he had a chance to be working out for teams, I think he'd be a lottery pick. He's Spanish wing.
Let's see.
And he's not working out right now because he's playing overseas.
He's on Real Madrid. If you go look at the roster after this, you guys are gonna laugh your butts off. They have like 15 NBA guys that used to play in the league. It's just like, I see why he can barely play, and the fact he gets minutes is amazing. But big time recruit for Spain, kicks some butt, and their lower level stuff. One of those guys that dunks on people. Very shifty with the ball in his hands. I think it's the tough classic. Like, he didn't play much. We didn't get to see him much. So he could somehow be there, but I know teams still like him. So, I mean, guys like that, I think Sahad Pettiford would be a little bit of like they're just Missoula ball mania, because he's just a little small, but he's lightning in a bottle. So a lot of different names. I'll try to send you guys some too.
Okay. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, come on.
I think that just about does it. I mean, you gave us a million names to look at, so that's perfect. I'm sure we'll do a bunch of videos and make our tier list, and then we can laugh again a year later when we do the same thing and look at our tier list players.
We should come back together and do the tier list like close to the draft. We can get everyone hyped again.
Just let me know.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. I'll say yes to the Celtics pod. I'm like, yes. See, I get the text. I'm like, easy, easy. Yes. Like, I could talk Celtics with people that understand my fandom. So, it's just crazy because I thought the draft was gonna be boring, and now I'm like, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Not boring at all now.
I don't know if they're gonna try to go up and get someone. I think all options are on the table, and they could just trade out entirely.
Yeah,
even more. Like,
I hope they don't.
I don't think they can. I feel bad for the new owner.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm blanking on the name right now.
Billy Billions.
Billy Chisholm.
Yeah, it is the 98th guy on my board right now. So I'm sorry, names are a little all over, but I just feel bad because it's like they just got to make a lot of moves. So they have to get out of the second apron, right?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty
much. The penalty kicks in if they do it one more. Yeah.
Especially next year, you do not want to have that 3rd and 5 years of being above it, because that first round pick will go to the end of the round. And with the discussion in the community right now of should they tank, should they not tank, it would be nice to have the option in case of emergency.
And you can't trade it. And you can't trade like an extra year out or something. Like, there's just a lot of penalties that come on to the Bucks.
I saw that about I've been down a dark place. I mean, I was like trade machine talking myself like, could the Grizzlies blow it up? And I was like, how could the Celtics get Jaren Jackson Jr. for Porzingis? It's been ugly. So I'm trying to figure it out too.
It's a mess. We'll see what happens. But regardless, thank you for the help, Tyler. Appreciate you for coming on the show again. Would you let the people know where to find all your work? Because as I always say, I always mess up the Twitter ads and everything. So
you're good. We're at NoCeilingsNBA.com. We've got a draft guide coming out in like 9 days. It's one of our biggest ones yet. So we'll have like 100 prospects in there, and we're at NoCeilingsNBA on all socials. So thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it. Big fan of the show. I always turn it on when I'm doing draft stuff before Celtics games. I'm like,
nice.
See what Jack and Sam are doing right now. How those guys are doing. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
We appreciate
you, man. Well, thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it. All right, Sam and I are here for some NBA recap, the conference finals, the first games of them. We can start with the one we just watched, which was Pacers-Knicks. Pacers, overtime win, improbably so. There's all these stats floating around of 4 in 1,000 in NBA history, and the Pacers have 3 of those wins in this year's playoffs. They were up by 14 with under 3 minutes to go. They were up by 9, I think, with under a minute to go, and they did it. They found a way. They won the game. It was insane. The Knicks blew the game just like the Celtics blew the game, and the Pacers beat the Knicks in the same way they beat the Bucks and the Cavs in the games in those series. So shout out to Tyrese Halliburton, shout out to Neesmith, shout out to Obi Toppin, shout out to Andrew Demhard, and incredible.
hate watching is unparalleled. There is nothing better than this. Like, watching your team is not even in the same category. Like, I don't think it's comparable. Because, like, if this is a Celtics game, right? Like, say the Celtics do the same thing. Celtics come back, whatever. You still have, like, all of the negative emotions in the balance, right? Like, there is a chance, like, that Halliburton 3 goes in, and it's not a 3, and then your heart sinks, and you're like, oh my God, no, they're going to blow this. When you're hate watching, you don't have that. It's just pure, unrivaled dopamine the whole time. This was an incredible experience on playback today. Jake and I went ballistic when the shot went to the heavens and then dropped back in. It ain't no fun when the Rabbits got the gun. It's not. Like, when you're the team that's having a historic meltdown, it's not so fun, is it? This is awesome. I went downstairs to talk to my dad after this game, and he still had the broadcast on, and it just showed the people leaving Madison Square Garden. No championship parade in the streets tonight. Nothing. No celebration, as there shouldn't be. Oh my God. Like, I have like a headache from like all the endorphins going. They're all going. This is awesome. The Pacers, credit to the Pacers. The Pacers did not die. The Pacers did all of the gritty thing. Yeah, literally, like the NBA definition of a cockroach. You could not have put it any better. Neesmith, 26 to the rafters. Send it up there. Nobody ever wants to wear it again. Send it up there. You avenged all of us in Celtic land. Rick Carlisle, salute to him. Celtic legend. Celtic champion. All of that.
Crazy.
Now we get to do the Knicks have to win 5 games in this series to go on.
Insane game. What a performance by the Pacers. Halliburton is ridiculous, man. This guy, plus 15 in a game they won by 3 points. Neesmith was a plus 10 in a game they won by 3 points. What a ridiculous performance. 8 of 9 shooting from 3 for Neesmith, and I don't know how many of them came in the last 3 minutes of regulation, but it was a lot of them. Let me take a look. So in the last 3 minutes of regulation, the last 3:15, Aaron Neesmith made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 threes in the last 3:15.
That's like dog.
That's insane. And he didn't miss. Like, there were no misses in between. He just made 5 straight threes. And he made another one at 4:45. He made 6 threes in the last 5 minutes of the game. It's insane.
He only missed 1 3 tonight, right? Total.
Yeah, 8 of 9. And then Halliburton overtime, getting whatever he wants. Obviously, the insane shot to end regulation. Obi Toppin had a ridiculous, like, under the basket, corralled himself to flip it in with, like, in the fourth quarter, and then he had a monster putback. Andrew Nembhard had 2 huge shots early in overtime. What a team win. Like, these guys are so much better than they get credit for, man. Aaron Neesmith is so good. Calling Halliburton the most overrated player in the NBA might be the most ridiculous thing that the NBA has done. And I forget who made the point to me. Maybe it was you, or maybe it was somebody, maybe it was a joke, maybe it wasn't. I heard somebody say it was just the whole Bucks roster that called him overrated.
Oh, I didn't
last
do
year
it.
In the last
I wish
things.
that was my joke.
But yeah, what an insane win for the Pacers. Like, and the Knicks did so many things just to, like, shit all over themselves too. They were so good for most of this game. Mitchell Robinson was awesome. They were playing really good basketball. Cat looked great. And then Josh Hart loses Andrew Nembhard on a cut to the basket. Jalen Brunson almost turns the ball over anytime he touches it in the last, 10 minutes of this game. Cat and OG both miss huge free throws. They lose Aaron Neesmith like 3 times. Like, what a collapse. What an unbelievable collapse by the Knicks. And also, completely besides the point, because this was a great game. And we're going to talk about it in the Thunder game too. The amount of calls that are being called in this these two series versus the rest of the playoffs is disgusting. like we're gonna like it has been the most physical playoffs we've seen in so long. Brad Stevens talked about it at his end of season press conference. You've had articles written about how physical these playoffs are. You have Warriors Rocket series. You have the Knicks Pistons series. You have the Celtics Magic series. You have all these awesome series of physicality, and like everyone's like, "90s basketball's back." Like, you have 90 to 80 scores, and then Jalen Brunson and SGA are just launching themselves into guys on straight line drives. And don't get me wrong, right? Like, these guys, both of them, had incredible games outside of that. I don't want what I'm saying to take away from how good they were. Jalen Brunson had 43 points. He would have had 31 if you take away his free throws completely. He shot 15 of 25 from the field and got 14 free throws. He was awesome, right? SGA was awesome. Or actually, he kind of wasn't. But the Thunder were awesome. My point is that is not why the Thunder won the game in game one, because of the SGA free throws. But it's still ridiculous the way these guys are getting rewarded for nothing. Like, it makes the game unbearable to watch at times, and it's stupid. But anyways.
You mentioned it. Shout out to Cat. Missed the big free throw. He only sat there for 2 minutes holding the ball before he missed it. I was calling for a 10-second violation on the stream with Jake. Fuck Cat. So happy he missed it. Happy he missed the 3 at the end of overtime. Glad I didn't have to watch him celebrate again. I'll say this, a serious positive thing. Brunson played an unbelievable game. 40 points. He was
so good. Except the last 5 minutes.
Well,
he was a disaster down
the
the
last
stretch.
5 minutes. He's clearly like exhausted. It's like
Yes.
overtime. He could barely move up the court. He was so tired.
He almost turned the ball over
backpack them
every time. But yes, 100%, you're correct.
Like, he had the 2K Gatorade next to him. Like that, he's flashing red on his player indicator with how tired he was. But he had a valiant effort. Oh, I'm so happy this happened to them, because it's such an awful feeling. Seriously, it really is. Like, the Celtics went through it twice. If you're a Knicks fan, you're here like, I'm hating from outside the club. I'm doing the Spider-Man meme, like, whatever you want to call it. Like, absolutely am. Watching it happen in real time, where, like, I never completely gave up hope, because the Pacers, as you said, are cockroaches, and they did something similar twice in this playoff run. Like, Siakam misses a free throw, and they're down 7 with like a little over a minute left. I was like, well, they came back from 7 down within a minute twice in this playoff run. Wouldn't shock me if they did it again, and sure as shit they did. The Halliburton shot, with it being a 2, right? Maybe the worst shot ever. he had a layup. No, it went in.
Doesn't matter.
But that,
I don't think he had a layup.
He might not have had a layup, but there was like the paint
It was
was
Mitchell
open,
Robinson.
or somebody was on a cut.
Mitchell
or
Robinson was right in
something.
front of him.
Mitchell
That's why he
Robinson
turned
was
around.
definitely in front of him, but it felt like he was going to go by him. Doesn't matter. The shot went in. But in the context of the moment, I was like, holy shit, they could have got such a better shot than that.
Doesn't matter.
That bounce would haunt me forever if I was a Knicks fan. I mean, this is what euphoria is. This is
Insane,
the
man.
best.
You know what's crazy? Taking a look at this. Of teams in the playoffs, the Clippers, Cavs, and Thunder have 2, 3, and 4 highest field goal percentage. At 48-6, that's the Clippers, who only played one series. You had 46-6, and you got 45-7. The Pacers are shooting 50.2% from the field. You look at 3-point shooting. Second place, you got the Bucks at 37-9. They only played 5 games. Rockets at 37-4. They only played 7 games. Clippers at 36-4. They only played 7 games. Cavs at 36-3. They only played 9 games. Pacers are shooting 40.6% from the 3. That is 2.7% better than anybody else in the playoffs, and they've played 6 to 4 more games than the next 3 people. Like, what a generational run of fuck you, we're going to score the basketball every time we touch it. They don't care. They're averaging 29.4 assists per game. You know how ridiculous that is in the playoffs when it's like a lot of iso ball? The most assists per game average in the regular season, the Nuggets were at 31, the Hawks were at 29.6. The Pacers were at 29.2. Only 2. They would have had the 3rd most assists per game in the regular season, and it's the playoffs when assists are usually down. Insane. They're averaging 3.4 more assists than the next most in the Clippers, who have played 7 games. Insane. It's crazy.
That is the thing about the Pacers. They just don't do iso ball. I mean, Halliburton technically isoed on the last possession, but like even that had some movement before it became the Halliburton show. Or no, they inbounded the ball to him. Don't listen to me. For the majority of their game, they do not do it. Their comeback was fueled by Neesmith getting catch and shoot opportunities because it was the right shot. They are a joy to watch. It's incredible how quickly they get out in transition, even after a make, just pushing the ball down the floor. I'm sure you said this to Andrew when you were doing the show, but the Knicks, the way they limit the rotation and really rely on their starters, like that is going to take a toll throughout a series where it's just like, holy shit, we have to sprint back again. They're already pushing the ball again. Shout out to Reggie Miller, generational performance on the mic today. The choke was great, but he was just hating the whole time. And if I'm happy the Celtics are not having to
on the
deal
Knicks?
with that. Yes. Yeah, he was so like pro-Pacers, as he should be. He played for the Pacers, had rivalry with the Knicks. He should absolutely be able to be biased on the broadcast. Maybe they should have somebody to like cancel him out on the broadcast.
I need to go listen to the call. Did he go nuts when Halliburton did the thing? Oh, Halliburton
I don't think
pointed to
he
him,
went
didn't
nuts. Yeah, he did, and Reggie pointed back. Shout out to Bobby Kravitsky. Immediately texted me. He's like, "Did you see that new meme for your collection?" Reggie pointing. No, like Reggie, he tried to jinx the Brunson free throw. Like he was doing the announcer jinx. He was saying Brunson has the ball. It might have been overtime or end of the fourth quarter when the Pacers were still trying to push back, and he's like, "Watch out for the pump fake and foul here on this possession." Like he was just talking mad shit.
You see what Halliburton did at the end of the game too?
The choke?
No, he just like at the end of overtime.
No, I didn't.
There were 0.2 seconds left. So when he embedded it, he just handed the ball to Cat. Like he just handed it to him because he knew there wasn't enough time for him to get a shot off like legally in the rules. So he just handed the ball to him. And so Cat like chucked up the shot, but it wouldn't account it because it's 0.2. And so he just handed it to him. Also, in this playoffs, Brunson has played in 12 games. Halliburton has played in 11 games. Brunson has taken 20 plus shots in 8 of his 12 games. And now 9 of his 13 games. Tonight was the second time all playoffs Halliburton has taken 20 plus shots. It's Pacers basketball, man. That tells you exactly. And the other one was the Milwaukee overtime win in Game 5, where they won like this. Insane. Just ridiculous, man. Shout out to the Pacers.
This is the peak.
Shout out Halliburton.
Go ahead.
We can talk about Thunder Timberwolves as well. Not much to talk about.
Not as fun.
Not as fun. I hated the Shea calls. I think they were bullshit, but it was irrelevant to the outcome of the game. The Thunder just exploded in the third quarter. The Timberwolves went ice cold. They couldn't do anything. Julius trying to play great, and then he just went quiet in the second half. And you could sit here and laugh and be like, "Oh, look, he choked," but he got nothing from anybody else. Nobody on the Timberwolves did anything. So credit to the Thunder. Credit to Shea for he wasn't very efficient, but he helped his team win. Although it didn't really matter last year when Jason Tatum did that, so maybe we shouldn't give him credit. Shout out Jalen Williams for a solid game. Shout out to Chet for an awesome game. And this man, Alex Caruso, is generational defender. My God, he was a pain in the ass.
Chet, biggest takeaway, post-game interview, he didn't do the voice. Talked like a completely different person. You ever hear him talk about like his favorite like Thanksgiving foods? Have you seen that video?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did not speak like that at all. He sounded like he was from Minnesota in the interview.
I see.
There was Julius Randle bedlam in the first quarter. I was watching it and I was like, I can't imagine how upset I would be if this was happening to the Celtics. I mean, there were some pretty bad things that happened to the Celtics this month, so I guess I wouldn't be that mad in the grand scheme of things. He was like 5 of 5 from 3. He had the Neesmith game, but only for a quarter. And then he fell off a cliff and started standing around.
And no one gave him any help. Not a single person gave him any help. Ant hurt his ankle to his credit, but he 18 points. Nobody else on the team had 10. You just don't win basketball games like that. You know what's funny? I saw a tweet, and I mean, we're 3 wins away on each side from it. We are 3 wins away from each side from the Paul George NBA Finals.
Without Paul
Think
George.
about it. Not even like Paul George, like because he played for both teams. The reason both of these teams have their players is because of Paul George. Think about it. Shea.
Because they got Sabonis for him,
Clippers,
and then
traded Sabonis
traded him for Halliburton.
It's the Paul George Bowl.
There's just so much juice right now. Like it's actually fun being on the couch.
Imagine the Pacers win the finals.
What if the Pacers never lose again?
If the Pacers win the championship, it would feed families, man. How fucking cool would that be? How cool would that be?
That would be the coolest thing ever. Just
Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam win a ring.
I want to shout out Halliburton for being the king of spite in the playoffs.
He's a motherfucker.
He has had several incredible moments after being called overrated, which I'm sure every podcast you listen to is going to be like, they said he was overrated. The spite that you have to just continuously make the big shot and do like all the best he did the big balls, he did the choking celebration. Like Halliburton right now is the Grim Reaper meme where he's just going to all the different doors of the different teams.
Imagine if his dad was courtside.
They need to unban Halliburton's dad.
If they win a championship, he should get unbanned. That's the rule.
If they make it, he should be unbanned already.
I agree.
Maybe he shouldn't be allowed to be courtside. Like,
sure.
If you want to keep him off the court because of the honest thing, fine. He should
put him in a suite.
Yeah,
put him in a
he
suite.
should be there. His kid's playing at the second most prestigious round of basketball on the planet. He should be able to be at the games.
It is 2025, and we just got a Tyrese Halliburton MSG game in the playoffs, in the conference finals. I'm sorry, let me rephrase. It's 2025, and we just got an Aaron Nesmith conference finals MSG game. Playoff records. Trailing by 7 to 9 points with 130 or less in the game. Pacers this year, 3-0.
Charles Barkley right now.
Every other team in the last
finish. Yeah, go ahead.
Every other team in the last 25 years is 1-698.
I mean, that has to be like the most fun team to be a fan of.
Dude, this is like if the Isaiah Thomas Celtics teams like were on steroids.
If Isaiah was 6'5".
If Isaiah was 6'5", like just ultimate good team might not have a chance. And you're like, wait, we're 3 wins away from the finals. What the fuck is happening? Anyways, Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley wants John Halliburton unbanned, almost as if NBA Central was listening to our conversation. He paid his dues. It shouldn't be indefinite. He's been punished enough. He would never do anything that stupid again. He wants him back.
Agree. Oh, man. All right. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
I borderline do not have a voice. I turned into a chimpanzee on the stream when the shot went in. Awesome night of basketball.
Just insane, man. All right, well, we'll throw it over to the rest of the show. All right, thank you again to Tyler for joining us on the show. Sam, do you want to do the rat list now, or do you want to do the rat list later when we do the conference finals?
We can do it now. Now.
Let's do that now. What you got?
Rat list is the airlines. Jack, I don't know if you saw. Did you see this?
No.
So, it was in the news this morning, actually, that safety regulations and tests have been done on standing seats on airplanes, and they are set to hit the mainstream airlines next year in 2026. So you can now have to stand for the duration of your flight.
Is it standing only planes, or is it like standing options for cheaper? I can't imagine they would abandon seats entirely. Like, there's just no way.
I am not sure. Let me pull up the article here. It's from the Daily Mail. It may have a little bit more context here, but I do know for sure that standing only seats on low-cost airlines will increase passenger capacity by 20%. So this is essentially a way for them to sell more seats. No airlines officially confirmed they have plans to introduce the money-saving venture. There is not a lot in here that says anything about the consumer benefiting from this. This is more of a way for the planes to sell more tickets and have more passengers.
That's fine. They can put them on the planes all they want. I'm not buying them. I'm not paying for standing seats.
You guys will be in the they'll be in the playoffs, and you'll be going down to Atlanta or something. You'll be like $40 round trip.
Okay, I mean, if you give me the $40 round trip,
Yeah,
I'll stand
see,
for a few hours. That's fine. We'll see.
You'll just be like intrigued and mad at yourself because you're intrigued, but intrigued nonetheless.
We'll see what happens. I don't think I'll be standing on a plane anytime soon. Regardless of the weather, man, it's cold and it's May.
Cold
and
as shit.
fucked up. I wanted to golf on Friday too, and it's supposed to rain and be cold. I wanted to go play basketball later today, and I think it's fine, but it's cold and it's kind of rainy. I can't really tell. This is not what I wanted when May came around, so I'm not thrilled. It's not great.
It is so cold. Went outside today, freezing. Well, not freezing. It's like 50 degrees, but for May, that's freezing. I can't believe it. I'm still surviving in the short sleeve in shorts right now, but I do like that I can comfortably wear a long sleeve in shorts. That is probably my favorite attire. The long sleeve t-shirt, shorts. I think it looks sick. Feel cool in it. I'm all for it. But I wish it was warmer out so you could enjoy the time of year and do outdoor activities. Like playing basketball outside is super fun. I don't golf, but people like to golf. That's something that Jack looks forward to all year, that he can golf. And the weather, Mother Nature is just drop stepping him, dunking.
Not great.
Like, no golf.
Memorial Day weekend. My friends got days off, and we're gonna golf, and we can't because it's supposed to rain and be 40 degrees, which is annoying. So not a fan of that. But yeah.
Rat list is me. You ever get? Well, you definitely do this. You ever get so like engulfed in whatever you're doing is that you get text messages, but they don't really register in your head. Like you don't realize what is being said to you. So I was at the gym today texting with a friend of mine in a group chat, and the group chat's like moving along, so a lot of messages coming in. And he works he works in like AV where he's setting up different events at a college. And whatever event he was supposed to work today canceled because they didn't need his help. All they needed was a microphone. It was very easy. So he got a bunch of time back, and he would text. He was like, I'm at the gym during work, super excited, whatever. And the school he works at has a gym he can access. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Me too. I'm at the gym. And then he replied and said, yeah, I see you. And in my head, he said, oh, I see you, like respect. But he was literally in the gym with me, and I just ignored him. Didn't even say hi to him, left. Felt really bad after. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's brutal. I don't know how much else I have. I don't do much, man. And the Celtics are done. I'm not an angry guy. I don't have much to complain about. It's fine. I'm chilling. I'm hungry. I'm ratless my hunger. I haven't eaten today. I want to go eat some food. I'm hungry.
All right, let's get Jack. Let's get Jack fed.
Thank you. All right. In that case, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe. Thank you again to Tyler for coming on the show. I think we'll have him on closer again to the draft, so we can go over a tier list and some last minute stuff. But leave a like, subscribe, all the same. Take it out.
Thank you very much for listening and watching. Once again, big thanks to Tyler for chatting with us. We've had him on the show for a couple years now. It's always a good time to have him on. He knows far more about the draft than we do, and it's really enlightening this time of year because the draft is super important. They need to hit on these picks. So shout out to him. If you guys are here, let us know in the comments who else you would like to see as a potential guest on the pod. Maybe we'll work on that because there are not games for us to react to. So it'll be really fun to have guests on and talk about things Celtics related. So go ahead and leave that below. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're here every single day with new content. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps up to one after each game. Other videos in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find the two of us here every day. Once again, you can email us hbtcpod@gmail.com. We'll be reading those just about every single show. We did not read them today because our show was super long, so there will be a mailbag video on the channel within the coming days. We're on Spotify and Apple too. All pods and recaps are up there, so if you want them there, follow, leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate it. You can find us on socials at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook is the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is at Jack's1NBA. Mine is at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.